right, let these other ones in. Let Amy in.
Excuse me.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. If you just came in, if you can put yourself on mute, I would so greatly appreciate that. This is Jake Dempsey, you guys. Everybody wave at Jake. He is the CEO of Project Broadcast, and we are so tickled to have him back. He was here last August and came and talked to us deeply about Project Broadcast, back office, screen share, all that kind of thing. And I'll make sure I don't mute you. And so today he is back because they have some updated things, and he's going to talk us through it all. This is on live stream also. If you have questions, we are not going to take questions from the Facebook live stream. So if you want to ask questions, you need to come to the Zoom. So come to the Zoom and you can type your questions in the chat. We'll take those, but we're not going to jump back and forth. I am live streaming it in there as well so that we have it for replayability. But thank you to everyone who is on here today. So excited to see you. And Jake, thank you. Thank you for coming back and seeing us again. And take it away. It's all yours.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Melanie. Let me first say I sound weird because I'm wrapping up a cold. So I apologize for that in advance. Today, we're going to talk about Project Broadcast. I am Jake Dempsey, co-founder and CEO of Project Broadcast, which sounds super fancy. I just tell everyone I'm chief nerd. And as you can tell, I don't take myself too seriously. You can check me out with my SpongeBob background that I use for all my Zooms. We're going to hit on a couple of things today, but primarily when we do these calls, what I'm really trying to do is help people answer the question of, do you think Project Broadcast can help you in your business? And the way that we will kind of uncover that for you is first, we're going to talk about what's text marketing in general, why texting as a channel is a powerful channel in your business. And then specifically, like, what can you use Project Broadcast for? Like in your business, what do you use Project Broadcast for? And ultimately, I'm hoping to help you answer that question of, do you think it could be helpful in your business? If that answer is yes, you're going to sign up for Project Broadcast and go to our training website, which is training.projectbroadcast.com, where we offer a ton of free training. Even when you sign up for your Project Broadcast account, you get a message from the Project Broadcast system immediately that actually directs you to the trainings that you should do. And as you do the trainings, we reward you. So when you get a plan with Project Broadcast, you get a certain number of credits each month. We'll talk about that later. But as you complete training, we pay you in credits to do training. So we pay you, for you to learn how to use the tool, which is going to help you ultimately help your business. So you can go get training. There's a massive amount of training that's available. Okay. And I'll probably mention the training website a few times today.
All right. We like training. Go ahead.
Yeah. We have tons of training. All right. So let's talk about what text marketing is in general. There are folks in here that probably have no clue what Project Broadcast is, and you're like, Melanie's doing a call, I'm gonna get on it. So we're gonna help you. There's probably people on here who may know what Project Broadcast is, but don't know how to use it in their business. And there's probably people who even have Project Broadcast, but that maybe they're stuck or they're trying to figure out new ways of using Project Broadcast. So I'm hoping we'll touch on a couple of different areas that'll help everyone in this call. Okay. And if you're already an existing Project Broadcast user, let's just, know and be empathetic. There's some people that have no idea what it is. So we're going to probably cover a couple topics that you already do understand. And we'll get into some meat and potatoes that'll help you as well. Okay. So let's first talk about what text marketing even is. We've all experienced text marketing in some way. You get a text message from your dentist about an appointment reminder, or your table is ready at a restaurant, or maybe you subscribe to your local frozen yogurt place that sends you coupons as text messages once a month. Like, that's a form of text marketing. Text marketing simply means getting a text from a business. Now, in direct sales and network marketing, in our profession, right, it's really important to build relationship. So whenever we talk about text marketing, yes, you can use Project Broadcast for sending out sales and promos and incentives. But ultimately, we think it's best served when used as a way to build and scale a relationship, which business flows out of that, right? So in Project Broadcast, when you sign up and get an account, you pick the state that you live in, or province if you're in Canada, and we give you a list of phone numbers. Usually there's numbers available in every area code in a given state or province, and you pick a phone number, and that becomes your Project Broadcast phone number. So you can send and receive text messages from our mobile app or website using that phone number. And you can make and receive phone calls using that phone number. So it creates a business line for your business where you use the Project Broadcast mobile app or our website to interact with your customers through that phone number. A lot of times when you're getting text marketing messages, they come from a little short number. They're called short codes. Like I literally, and I use this example all the time and people make fun of me, but it is the truth. I get text messages from Chili's still. It comes from a little short code and it'll be like $1 off fried pickles for the week, right? They're trying to get me in there to get an appetizer because they know I'm going to get a meal and a dessert. I know there isn't a guy that works for Chili's that's typing up $1 off free pickles message to me. Like I know that guy that isn't a job that exists in the company. And it comes from this little bitty short phone number called a short code. Well, in Project Broadcast, we don't use short codes because we all know that when we get a message from a short code, our brain already tells us this is not a real person. It's a system. I can't call the number, can't respond to it. It's probably from some system. We believe for small businesses, the best way to communicate is using real phone numbers because it comes across as a real phone number. They can store that in their contacts with your name or your business name. They can respond to it and have real conversation back and forth with you. And ultimately, they can call the number. So Project Broadcast differentiates itself by making sure that when you create an account, you get a real phone number. And text marketing as a whole is just getting a text message from a business. That's all it means. Now, why do we think texting as a channel is an important channel for communicating? And, some of the stuff we're going to talk about today has nothing to do with Project Broadcast. It's just helping you learn about marketing and channels. So the way that I always teach people that text messaging is a great channel to communicate on is that if you look at your cell phone, and if you have your cell phone handy, you should do this because it's always love doing. Actually, we are going to do this. So I want you to look at your cell phone, and I want you to do me a favor. On all the apps you have, right? You have an email app, a voicemail app, a texting app, a Facebook Messenger app, a WhatsApp app, Telegram, Signal, Clubhouse. Like there's a gajillion apps. And all of those apps have a badge. And the badge represents the number of unread messages, okay? I want you to put in the chat the number of unread messages you currently have on your email app on your phone. This is always fun. I did a call like 2 weeks ago, and the highest on that call was 200,000. She had 200,000 unread emails. Let me go look at my chat because I want to see what you guys put in there. Oh, Holly's a zero inboxer. Me too, Holly. All right, is Colleen saying 148,933? Is that the number? Okay, so that's a lot. 50.
Colleen, you might win.
Colleen might be the winner on this one. Michelle, 15,372.
I have 16,000. Yeah.
28,000. So now what I want you to do.
Hey, Amy.
Now what I want you guys to, I can't handle the red bags. Now what I want you to do is I want you to look at your texting app on your phone. Again, this isn't a Project Broadcast thing. I want you to look at the texting app on your phone and put in the number of unread message on your texting app. Look at all those zeros. So Marcy, when you look at your phone, you have like the app icon, and usually the app icon will have like a little red circle on it with a number. They call that the badge. That tells you like how many unread emails or unread text messages. Christine, girl, you need to answer your text messages. But look how many zeros there are. I haven't seen any 1,000 numbers. So here's like my kind of, I guess, demonstration. If you compare something like email to texting in your normal walk of life, again, it has nothing to do with Project Broadcast. In your normal walk of life, you are more likely to read and respond to your text message than you are to read an email. Who had the 100-something thousand? Who was that again? Colleen. How many unread text messages did Colleen have? Zero. So Colleen had 158,000 unread emails, but zero unread text messages. So I'll pick on Colleen. In Colleen's regular walk of life, She's more likely, not more likely, I don't know that she's checked email in a couple years, but she's more likely to respond to a text message. So as normal people, if we're more likely to communicate via text in our normal walk of life, guess what? So are your customers. Like, we're all just normal people. So it's why we think texting is so powerful, is that, and there's a lot of data that backs this up. And you can find these numbers if you Google online, and they may vary slightly, but email has an open rate of about 20%, meaning people will open your email, and a read rate of about 15%, because a lot of people open email and then they don't even read it. So email's got a read rate of about 15%. Text messaging has a read rate of 98%, and 96% of text messages are read in the first 2 minutes of delivery. So simple math, you send 100 emails, 15 get read. You send 100 text messages, 98 get read, and 96 of them got read within 2 minutes of the person getting the message. And here's why I think this is like this. Tell me if you agree. I use this term friction a lot when talking about business. I want low friction, because low friction means things are moving smoothly and I'm not having to work against something. Well, when you're communicating with someone, texting is very low friction. If Melanie sends me a text message, again, not a project broadcast thing. If Melanie sends me a text message, it is perfectly acceptable for me to respond with a thumbs up or an okay, or to heart it. So it's very easy for me to engage. It's also very easy for me to read her message, because typically text messages are smaller in nature than other forms of communication, right? Now, if Melanie sends me an email, it's going to be longer. I got to read it. I got to respond with proper grammar and capital letters and punctuation. That's friction. I've used email for 35 years. I've never once responded to an email in 35 years with a thumbs up emoji. Right? It's not part of the way the channel is typically used, right? But in texting, that is not only common, it's very accepted in terms of how you communicate back and forth with text. So texting is a very low friction way to communicate. And it's so low friction now, when you get a text message, I can just stare at my phone sometimes when I get a push alert. It unlocks the phone and I can see the text message, and I never even touch the phone. I just look at it and read it. You can't do that with email. So that low friction creates a lot of opportunity to communicate with people. It's why we love texting as a channel. Very low friction, very easy to communicate, much higher engagement, because the engagement barrier is so low for your recipient. So that's why we like texting. Now, for project broadcast specific stuff, sorry, I'm looking back at the unread email stuff, a lot of zero. Yeah, some of y'all need to check your email. But look at all those low numbers on texting. And it's not even a project broadcast thing, right? That's just normal walk of life stuff. So project broadcast specifically, so it's great. We get what text marketing is, and Wahoo, texting as a channel is awesome. Who cares? How do I use that in my business? So let's talk about project broadcast and how you would specifically use a tool like project broadcast in your business. So project broadcast is this full business platform, right? You can send and receive text messages, make and receive phone calls, send ringless voicemails, create configurable forms, build trackable links. There's a ton of features in the platform. There's also a ton of training, which is free, at training.projectbroadcast.com. So you always want to go there to get additional training. But if you're building a business, what do you use it for? Well, if I'm a network marketing direct sales professional, there's a ton of ways I can use project broadcast. And again, I'm big on low friction. Low friction meaning opportunity for a negative response. So what are ways that I can reach out to customers or team members that creates a low opportunity for a negative response? Well, let's talk about a few. If I am wanting to work with customers, doing a follow-up system in project broadcast is insanely simple. If you want to do a 2-week, 2-day, 2-month follow-up system, you can build that in project broadcast very easily using our drip campaigns feature. And then anytime you get a new customer or a sale, you could add that customer to your customer follow-up drip campaign and it schedules the messages for you. It would schedule the 2-day, the 2-week, and the 2-month. Done. I don't have to have that, leader guilt anymore that, man, I had a customer who bought for me last week and I couldn't follow up with them because life got in the way. And now I can't follow up with them because I'm nervous they're going to be upset with me because I didn't follow up with them last week. So then you end up not following up with them at all and they fall through the cracks. Where you can use a tool like Project Broadcast is to make sure that no one falls through the cracks. Now, you still want to have engagement back and forth with the customer. So you'll still use Project Broadcast to have like direct one-on-one conversation, but you can use it as a way to create, a system that you make sure that all customers go through. And that's low friction, right? Like a customer is not going to get upset that you said, thank you for placing an order and following up within 2 weeks later. Did you get your order? And 2 months later, hey, how have you liked your product, right? That's very low friction. What about new consultant onboarding? What are you doing today when you get new consultants who join your team? Do you have like a system in place to do a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day new consultant onboarding where every consultant that gets onboarded gets sent the same messages, where they're taught the back office or product or comp plan or ways to share online, or maybe even project broadcast tips that they can be using in their business? Super easy to do in Project Broadcast. Also very low friction. Or when's the last time you sent out a customer gratitude message? It's literally nothing but thank you so much for being a customer. What's been your favorite product this year? Super easy to do in Project Broadcast. Also low friction. Birthday messages. Are you sending out birthday messages to your customers? Or if you like sending out a message on the anniversary of your customer's first purchase or team members join date with your company, you could totally do that in Project Broadcast using our anniversary campaigns. Or do you host like a weekly team call or monthly team call that you need to send out a reminder for every week or every month? Super simple to do in Project Broadcast. So when I think about these opportunity lists, I feel like that list, low friction ways to reach out to people, I really believe this in my heart, that is infinite. The number of ways to reach out to people where you're not asking for a sale or trying to get them to do a, I'll say sale related activity is infinite. How are you doing product education today? Like if you launch a new product, how do people learn about it? If you want to send business tips to your team, how do you, send them income producing activity business tips once a week? Like that, again, that list is infinite. Now, yes, you can use Project Broadcast for sending hey, here's this month's promos. You could totally do that to your customers. But here's my belief. I'll give you another kind of visual. In Texas, I don't know if you guys have this where you're at, but in Texas, and I never have one at my desk, so I'll just pretend this is one. In Texas, we get this envelope in the mail, and you get it a few times a year. It's a big, thick envelope, and it's called a Val Pack. Does anyone get a Val Pack? Do you guys know what that is? Okay, who's that just, so Amy and Marie, they know what it is. Lori knows what it is. Okay, so here's my belief, okay? A Val Pack is an envelope, and the envelope is full of coupons. That's the only thing in the envelope, is just a bunch of coupons. And I am convinced there are only 2 types of people on the entire planet. And if you've never even seen a Val Pack, I promise you, you are only one of these 2 types of people. They're the people that get the Val Pack and they immediately throw it in the trash, or they get the Val Pack, they open it, they thumb through it about 10 to 15 seconds, and then they throw it in the trash. And I started out as I'll open it and thumb through it like 10 or 15 seconds and throw it in the trash, but now it goes right in the trash. So here's what I want you to think about in your business. I'm going to pick on Melanie again because she's, my co-host. If I open my conversation with Melanie and I don't care what platform it is, email, texting, Facebook, whatever, I don't care what platform it is. If I open my conversation with Melanie and all I see are buy this is for sale, BOGO, incentive, what is Melanie to me? She's a Val Pack, and Val Packs go in the trash. Now, maybe I read her first message, right? And maybe I even read her second message. But if all I ever get from Melanie are buy this, sale, BOGO, incentive messages, and by the way, I am not making this decision. Melanie is teaching me Melanie is teaching me that she only messages me when she wants me to buy something. So anytime I get a message from Melanie, my brain immediately says, are you in a buying mood? Nah, don't read the message. So I don't want Melanie or anyone. I always say hashtag don't be a Valpak. Now, what I really want is I want to open my conversation with Melanie and see actual conversation. Maybe she wished me happy birthday, or she sent me some cool piece of product information, or she's asking how my dog is, or I got a message for her that she was just thinking about me, like actual conversation. Because then Melanie has taught me that we have a relationship. And whenever she sends me a message, I should read it because it might be something fun or funny or cool or informative. And on occasion, it'll be about a sale or a promo and incentive. And the reason I'm so big on this is that I really believe this, that our businesses in network marketing, direct sales, the business flows out of relationship. And if you believe that like relationship is where it starts, it means that you should be spending a large portion of your time growing and fostering relationships. Well, if I'm asking for the sale all the time, I'm not really spending a lot of time over here in the building and fostering relationships. So if you were to sit down in your business and whatever, let's say I'm an Acme unicorn consultant, whatever, I'm going to sit down and figure out like, man, how do I talk to my unicorn buyers, but not ask them to buy something? How am I going to engage with them? I'm going to thank them for being a customer. I'm going to give them product information. This is a totally horrible example. When a new baby unicorn is born, I'm going to send everyone a message of how cute it is. I'm going to think of ways to engage them and not ask them to buy something, so that when there's a real time for me to ask them for buy something, they read the message. And I can tell you, you don't have to be a marketing genius to know that the very first rule of marketing is they got to read the message, right? If they don't see the message, they won't take any action. So think of your business and think about ways to add value that are, in my opinion, low. I like low friction. Product education, gratitude messages, customer follow-up, new consultant onboarding, like that list is infinite. Or even prospecting, like, what are you doing today for prospecting? Like, well, are you doing prospecting? Common question I get with Project Broadcast. I have a small team. Should I be using Project Broadcast? Yes, because you want a bigger team. So you can use Project Broadcast for doing things like, let's use an example. Let's say you are in a, let's see, who in here is in like a party-based business? Someone raise their hand. All right, Amy, what business are you with? Type it for me.
She's Touchstone Crystal.
All right, Touchstone Crystal. So if Amy's in a party-based business, Touchstone Crystal, what if you actually even started using Project Broadcast to build text-based parties? This has become a really popular thing in the last couple of years, where Amy can create a keyword. For lack of creativity, I'm just going to say the keyword is called party. And then when someone texts the word party to her Project Broadcast number, it could add them to a Project Broadcast campaign. And that campaign could send a message to the person maybe once every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes for an hour, where she's teaching them about the product, sending them information about, her, and ultimately driving them to make a purchase decision with her consultant URL. So then what does Amy do with that? I've got this keyword party. I've got it tied to a campaign. It teaches people about the products with cool pictures and ultimately asks them to buy the product. But now what do I do with it? Well, what if you went on social media and instead of just posting a picture about your product, which you do, I guarantee you, Amy has pictures on social media about their products. True? Yes. So what if Amy, when she did the post with her product, actually said, hey, if you want to learn more about Touchstone Crystals, text party to this word or to this Project Broadcast number. And now that post, which is always on social media, always also has a way for people to reach out to her using the party keyword, and she can literally be delivering a party at any point because it's on demand, basically. She can even go on like Instagram, do a reel, and have a fun reel with her products and say text party to a phone number, and then save that reel as a highlight. So it is forever pinned to the top of her Instagram. And if someone saw that today, and text the word party, they would get the text party. If they saw it 6 months from now and they text the word party, guess what? They would get the party. So you could also use Project Broadcast for doing what I call evergreen marketing material, so that you can build content that is actually working for you when you're maybe not tied to the keyboard or actually actively working the business. It's passively helping you. You can use that for things like product education. You can do the same thing. You can create keywords that add people to campaigns that teach them about product. So you can even send that to your existing customers. You could do a keyword on the comp plan and have your team text you a keyword to learn more about the comp plan. So you can use Project Broadcast for all these ways of basically automating and building systems around the business so that you can focus on other income producing activities while Project Broadcast is doing some of the, I won't say monotonous work, but doing a lot of the messaging that just takes a lot of time, right? Like, well, and creating the consistency, because like follow-up's a good example. I always tell people, for me, if I'm looking at any tool, I don't care what it is, it has to either, we'll use Project Broadcast. Project Broadcast is $15 a month, right? If I'm looking at Project Broadcast, it has to either save me $15 in time, or it has to make me $15 in money. And if it doesn't do either of those, I'm not going to use it, because why would you waste your money, right? So look at something like just customer follow-up. If you only used Project Broadcast for customer follow-up, didn't use any of the other features, so you'd be using like this much of Project Broadcast, and you only used it for customer follow-up, where you knew every customer was going to get added to your customer campaign, and they got, again, I'm using a 2-2-2 style. Maybe you do a different cadence, but a 2-week, or excuse me, a 2-day, 2-week, 2-month message, and it only ever did that for me, it would save me $15 in time, guaranteed. And I never have to worry about a customer not getting followed up with, right? I've got a system that's making sure they're followed up with. Now, once you start adding all the other ways to communicate with your team, and you add prospects, and you add the fact that you can do configurable forms and trackable links and keywords and campaigns, it's kind of a no-brainer that Project Broadcast will help your business. Like another good example of a use case. Who in here does like vendor events? Didn't you guys ever do vendor events for your business? All right, Lori. So Lori, raise your hand. So a typical vendor event is you set up a table, you have a clipboard at the table for people to put their name and phone number. You maybe have a raffle to get people to kind of come to the table to talk to you. And at the end of the vendor event, you go home with the clipboard and you take all those names and phone numbers. You can read like, half of them, and you have to enter them into like your CRM or Excel or something, upload them to random.org to pick a raffle winner. And then you got to figure out how to follow up with those people that you just met at the vendor event that you spent all day at in the hot sun if it's outside.
It's like you know us so
I mean, is this...
Everybody's like, yeah.
Okay, so imagine this for a second, okay? Now, I'm going to paint a picture, and just know, again, everything I'm talking about, there's training, okay? So just know that if you're feeling slightly overwhelmed with all the things you can do, totally okay. All I want you to get out of today's call is, can Project Broadcast help me in my business if it can do the things that Jake's talking about? If that answer is yes, just know there's a mountain of training and support to help you, okay? So don't get overwhelmed with, this is more like we're spitting out a ton of ideas, none of which you should do all at once. Right?
I pause you for 1 second because there were a lot of questions on, is there training for the text parties? Like, you hit a nerve with those. So is there training on that?
I think there's training specifically on text parties. If not, we could build one. That wouldn't be hard at all. Okay. I think there is one though.
Okay.
So our training, just so you guys are aware, our training works like 2 ways. We have training that is specific to features, like what is a keyword? Like what is that even? What is a keyword and how do you use it? There's training that is focused on features. And then there's training that's focused on business objectives, like how do you crush a vendor event? And then we go over the 5, 6, 7 different features to help you do that. But here's the thing I wanted to paint for you, for those that do vendor events, because I feel you. So you can, in Project Broadcast, everything I'm about to say you can do, and just know there's a training that goes over all this, so don't let it blow your mind. You can have a keyword called raffle. And at the vendor booth, you literally have a piece of paper up that says text raffle to a Project Broadcast phone number. That keyword responds with a message saying, thanks so much for stopping by my vendor booth. We're going to pick a winner today at 3:00. Fill out this form to be added to the raffle. That link in the message is what we call a configurable form, which is also created in Project Broadcast. That form forces them to enter in their first name, their last name, and what other information you want to collect. You have up to 50.
You have chat up, but Lori just said, shut up.
You have 50 custom fields on the contact, so you can build whatever kind of form you want and collect information. When they finish the form, it can trigger another keyword called raffle done. And that keyword could send them a message like, Jake, thanks so much for joining the raffle. We'll pick a winner at 3:00 today, and I'll let you know if you won. So now my vendor event's done. I go into Project Broadcast, and I create a contest, which is another feature in Project Broadcast. I add all of the people with the tag raffle done, because those are the people that filled out the form, and I click pick a winner. So I've now got everyone who texted me the word raffle tagged in Project Broadcast as raffle. I've got everyone in Project Broadcast who filled out the form, which are the ones I care about, with the keyword raffle done. So they're tagged raffle done. And I'm able to create the contest and pick the raffle winner from the people that filled out the form. And now, not only that, I can now take all of the people that filled out the form and add them to a follow-up campaign so that I can be following up with them, trying to get a conversation over phone or a meeting or a party or whatever scheduled with them. I never once looked at a clipboard. I never once had to read chicken scratch or put things in Excel or do 4 different, systems to host a vendor event, get them in a lead funnel, pick the winner of the raffle, and engage with the audience. You can do 100% of that in Project Broadcast. So let's say you do a couple raffle events a year and Project Broadcast is $15 a month. I would bet if you only use Project Broadcast for one raffle event every few months, it would easily be worth $15. So Lori, there's actually a webinar in our training.projectbroadcast.com that is going over the vendor event strategy, so that you can learn how to do everything I just talked about in a vendor event. I think there's even a little training that's in the vendor event training, where even if you don't want to have text raffle to a phone number at your table, that can just be a QR code. People can literally walk by your table, scan the QR code. It automatically fills your Project Broadcast number into their, to field of their texting app and puts your keyword in the message field. And all they have to do is click the send button to kind of get started into your funnel. So super powerful. I'm trying to think if I've missed any what I would call super high value, low friction. This is actually the fun part for me of these calls, because I love thinking of how can you use it? Actually, I had a really cool lady who hosted a team retreat recently after COVID, when they started opening up travel. She hosted a team retreat, and it was brilliant what she did. So she used our keyword feature in Project Broadcast and built a scavenger hunt with our keywords. So you would text the word start to start the scavenger hunt. You would get a message back, and it would ask you a question about the product or the company, and only the right answer, which was another keyword, would trigger the next message in the scavenger hunt. And then the last message in the scavenger hunt, the last clue, you could not receive until you were at the leader retreat. So everyone on their own was doing this kind of keyword-based scavenger hunt. And then when they all came to the leader retreat, they could text in the final word to get the final clue. And it was a clue that made them all kind of work together. So she used it as a way to have everyone engaged and then break the ice when they got to the leader retreat. And obviously we never thought of that kind of use case for keywords, but it's such a cool way to to use keywords. So I've since had other leaders do scavenger hunts with their customers. Like I had a lady, this was probably a year ago, I think. She did a scavenger hunt with her local team in a mall. Like they had to go to the mall and they would text her the start word to start the scavenger hunt, and then the keywords would trigger basically other clues in the scavenger hunt. So I thought that was a pretty innovative way to use Project Broadcast. All right.
I sat on a texting party that was basically like a choose your own adventure book.
Yes.
Party. So if I was interested in stoneware, then I would say stoneware, and it would take me to that stuff instead of watching a whole party. It would take me to exactly what I really wanted to know about and not the whole thing.
There's another type of party. There's another type of party people are doing with Project Broadcast called a scroll party. And my cold does not let me say scroll party very. We have this feature called landing pages in Project Broadcast. And landing pages are micro websites that you build in Project Broadcast with a drag and drop editor. So they're real easy to create. And you get a link to share that with people. So what some people are now doing is they're creating a party in a landing page. So it's like a really long website that you scroll, where it'll have like an introduction at the top, and then it goes down and talks about what they're going to do at the party, and then links to the products and talk about the products. So that, like I talked about before, a text party is maybe they text you the keyword and you send them a text message every 5 minutes for 30 minutes or every 10 minutes for an hour, something like that. But you're still controlling how fast they can, do the party. The scroll party is pretty cool because you can have them text you the word party. You respond with just one message, and it has a link to our Project Broadcast landing page that you've built. And the party is built in the landing page. So it's like just like a big long newsletter. And those have been really successful, which is another really cool way to use landing pages in Project Broadcast. Let's see. I'm trying to think I think that's a good starting point. Now, let me just say this though, for folks, whether you're an existing Project Broadcast user or considering Project Broadcast, there is no way you should take like these ideas we've talked about and say, I'm going to go do all those today. Like it ain't going to happen. So I would really sit down, think about the business and say, hey, what is the like highest value thing for me and my business today? Because it's different for each of you. You may say, okay, I suck at follow-up. I'm great at meeting people and getting them excited about the product, but I kind of suck at follow-up. Well, then follow-up is probably a big thing that you should start tackling. Maybe that's the first thing you tackle. You go build your little follow-up system in Project Broadcast and start using it, and then you tackle the next thing. Now, maybe your follow-up is just on point, you're killing follow-up, but you're not doing great at prospecting, or you're not doing great at gratitude messages or birthday or product educate, whatever. Find the area of the business that you think is going to help you the most and do that just one thing first, and then tackle, the next thing. Because there's, again, I think the list is infinite. There's infinite number of ways you can improve the business. You can't do all of those at one time, right? So, pick one of those. And even if you need to figure out, maybe you don't know what that one thing is, there's actually a training on our training website, training.projectbroadcast.com, called, if I remember correctly, it's called High Impact Communication, that Dawn's one of our customer success people at Project Broadcast, that she does, that helps kind of guide you into figuring out what that is for your business. And speaking of Dawn, let's talk about support and training. So in Project Broadcast, there are, I need to count them because I don't know the exact number. There's a ton of ways to get support. When you sign up, you automatically get 2 contacts in your Project Broadcast account: Project Broadcast Support and Project Broadcast Success. So you can message them right in the app to get help. We also have an email, support@projectbroadcast.com and success@projectbroadcast.com. So if you have an issue that is going to require, deeper dialogue, you probably want to send an email. We also have multiple Facebook groups. So there's the Project Broadcast main Facebook group that anyone can join. We don't allow company specific questions to be asked in that group. It is meant to be a safe space for everyone to ask questions. But for some companies, depending on what company you're with, we may have a Project Broadcast Facebook group for your company specifically. I think we have 35 or so different Facebook groups for different companies. And that's a place for you to collaborate with other people in your specific company. And then you've got folks like Melanie who've got groups. So there is a ton of support available. Now, if you need strategy help, like, man, I'm going to go do, let's pretend the vendor event training didn't exist. Let's just pretend that didn't exist. And Lori's like, I'm going to go do a vendor event. And I think Project Broadcast can help me, but I don't really know exactly like how, but I really think it can help me. Well, you can message the Project Broadcast success user in your Project Broadcast app and get help from our success team. Dawn and Joanna are our success team. They were paid consultants kind of in the wild, where they would help high-ranking leaders strategize their business specifically around Project Broadcast. And we saw that, and I thought it was cool, but I hated the fact that everyone didn't have access to that. It was really only people who could pay for these kind of higher paid consultants to help them with their business. So I convinced Dawn and Joanna to come work for Project Broadcast full time. So they are accessible to anyone. If you have a strategy question about how to use Project Broadcast, message the success people. They work full-time for Project Broadcast, and they are ninjas when it comes to figuring out how to like leverage PB to help your business. So they're there as a free resource that you have as well. And then I know I've said this at least 5 times, but I'm gonna say it one more time. There's also training.projectbroadcast.com, which is totally free. You create an account there. You do have to create a separate account there because it's a different system, but it's all free. And there are pages and pages and pages of training content. Feature-based content, what's a dynamic field? Business-based content, how do I crush a vendor event? There's a ton of content there. So just know that you have a ton of support. You have a ton of help, even in the strategy side. You guys are also, blessed a little bit extra because you also have Melanie as a resource. So just know that there's tons of support. So let's talk about price. Project Broadcast is, well, depending on how big of a plan you need, it starts at $15 a month. So for $15, you get 500 credits. And a credit means outbound message. So if you were to schedule a message to 10 people, that would be 10 credits. We don't charge for incoming messages. And then once you get into a one-to-one conversation with someone via our chat tab, we don't charge for that either. We used to, and then we were seeing that consultants would post in all of our groups, hey, when a customer responds to your Project Broadcast message, do you send them a message saying you're going to text them from your personal number? And I'm like, oh God, it's so bad for your customer. Like, you don't text them from one number and then go to another number and text them. Like, that just is weird. So I think it was last July, we made it so that what we call chat is unlimited. We don't charge credits for that. And if you don't use all of your credits in a given month, they roll over. So if you have a light month where you don't do a ton of messaging, those credits just keep building up for you so that when you do have a heavy month of messaging, you've got extra credits that have been banked for you to use. And we have plans ranging from 500 credits a month up to like 100,000 credits a month, right? Depending on how big's the organization, how much do you want to message? Are you going to do prospecting? So just sit down and do like some napkin math to figure out, what plan size you need. And all the plans have all the same features. Even the starter plan, which is, the $15 a month plan, you get trackable links, configurable forms, landing pages, ringless voicemail, text messaging, inbound, outbound calling. All of the plans have the same features. There's also Melanie, if you don't mind, Melanie has a link that you can use that will actually give you an extra 500 credits added to your account when you sign up. So you get like an extra, month of credits basically added to your account by using the link to sign up. Tons of training, tons of support. You can't do everything all at once. Remember that. Don't be a Valpak. I hope that like sticks in your brain. You're not going to be a Valpak. You're going to think about ways to like drive value to your customers and team, where the value isn't, here's just this month's promo or incentive or whatever, right? So it's going to take some time to think about that a little bit. We always like to say project broadcast second. So first, think about the business and how you can improve the business. Second, how can project broadcast help you implement those things into your business? So I'm going to pause because I'm talking enough. See if we got any questions or if Melanie's got something she would like to add.
I've been answering most of them, but we can go back up. There were some I didn't know. Let's see. There was, all right, Jamie asked if we go through project broadcast, our customers don't have our real phone number, right? Which you kind of touched on that.
Yeah, so we actually like that. Like the idea of having a separate business number helps you to be intentional about the business, right? Instead of you having everything come to in your personal number, you now have a business number and you're using an app for managing that communication. So when you want to be intentional about the business, it's tied to a single phone number. And if you use the call forwarding feature, like we have a feature called call forwarding, if someone were to call your project broadcast number, we forward the call to your real cell phone, but the customer never sees that. They only see your project broadcast number. And you can even call the customer from the project broadcast number. If you're in our app and you're talking to a customer, you can click a button that says call. It will first call you, and then it will say to continue, press 1, and you press 1, and then the system will call them, and then it will merge the two together, but they still don't see your phone number. They would see a phone call coming from your project broadcast number.
And then they save it in their phone as that is you.
Yeah, because, well, this is what I tell people, right? Because people ask this a lot. Well, I want my customers are going to have a different phone number. And I'm like, well, if you went from
nationwide,
if you went from AT&T to Verizon, you would be getting a new phone number, and you'd probably send a message to all your contacts saying, hey, everybody, this is my new phone number. So one of your first messages to your contacts in Project Broadcast is, hey there, it's Jake. This is my new, business phone number.
Right.
If you ever need anything, let me know. Make sure to save this in your contacts. Done. Right? Super simple.
All right, I'm scrolling. I'm in the everybody's numbers thing. Hold on. Somebody said I need hand holding tutorials, which you talked about, training.projectbroadcast.com.
Not only that, again, when you go to training.projectbroadcast.com and you do the training, we give you credits for doing training.
So I love that part.
Each training has a amount of credits tied to it. And when you complete the training, we give you those credits. So we literally pay you to get training in the platform.
I love that. Somebody says, how many separate lists can you make of people?
Unlimited. Okay. So we call those tags. In Project Broadcast, lists, or what we call them tags. And this is one of the, I think, things where, again, we focus so heavily on understanding our market. You can have unlimited keywords, unlimited contacts, unlimited campaigns, unlimited templates, unlimited tags. All of that's unlimited, because ultimately that doesn't cost money, right? If you got 5,000 contacts or 5 contacts, there's no real cost difference in that for us, right? Because it's just data in a database. What costs real money is sending text messages. So all of our plans are based on how many of those credits do you need, but all the other things under that, like how many contacts, templates, keywords, campaigns, that's all unlimited.
Do you think text-based parties are becoming more popular than Facebook parties?
Well, two things, yes. I feel like text parties are becoming more popular because they're on demand, right? So a literal single person who's scrolling Facebook at 10 o'clock at night can get a party delivered to them immediately. It's on-demand parties, right? So I think that's powerful. The other thing is, I feel like, unfortunately, that Facebook, in terms of reach, is really declining. Like, even like Project Broadcast, right? We run 35, 40 different groups. Some of those groups have 20,000+ people in them. We will do a post in a group, and I'll look the next day, and it will have like 100 people that had seen it. Like not engaged with it. But when I go look at the insights as the group admin, I can see that only 100 people saw the post. So the fact that like that engagement is so low means if you're doing a Facebook party, the amount of people that are probably getting the content when you post to it is just, it's declining, unfortunately. We actually have a feature in Project Broadcast called Spaces. I won't get into too much with it today, but by the end of the year, our Spaces feature will probably replace the need for people to use Facebook for their business. So it'll be a place for you to collaborate with other Project Broadcast users, with conversation, Q&A, media, and we're in the midst of building that now, and that should roll out by the end of the year.
What other secrets do you have?
We'll have email by the end of the year as well. So for people who just really want email, email will be in the platform by the end of the year as well. So we have big things to build before the end of the year. And our new design is going to be in by the end of the year.
I told Jake before the call, it's like they're becoming the one-stop shop. And that's truly what we need. Like paying a little bit here and a little bit there and paying for all this stuff in all these different places, it adds up really, really fast.
Oh, yeah, we think Project Broadcast has three kind of core areas: marketing, CRM, and collaboration. And we really feel like Project Broadcast has no competitor in the marketing space. Like nothing does as much as Project Broadcast does for the price point. Actually, even if you ignore the price point, nothing does as much as Project Broadcast does. And if you factor in price point, it's not even a conversation. Like go look at other text marketing platforms and compare feature by feature. Project Broadcast does a gazillion times more stuff, and it's more affordable. So the other two areas, collaboration and CRM, the rest of this year, we're focusing heavily on the collaboration piece. That's where all the focus in this Spaces area that we're building is going. And then beginning of next year, we'll start focusing a lot more on CRM capability to add things like, to-do lists and reminders and labeling customers in different ways so that you can have more rich kind of CRM capability as a part of the platform as well.
Which for those of you who are asking in the group about where's everybody going after the Sell with Amy thing, there's an answer for you. Another resource as a possibility.
Yeah, because was it the 31st was the last day, I think, for
it was.
Yeah. And I think we have I don't know if it's on the training website, but I know we have it. If you are, if you were an Amy user and you're looking for kind of a new home and you want to try out Project Broadcast, sign up, message the success contact. I know we have a document that we have created to help people, export from Amy and import into Project Broadcast. I don't know if that's possible now, if it's completely shut down, but that kind of.
But they should have pulled their reports before it went down.
Yes. So if you have your reports, send a message to our success team. I can't remember if they put it as a training or not. It may just be a document we've created, but I know we have a document to help people that are migrating from Amy.
Can I use this for more than one business?
You can. Here's my suggestion, though. Create 2 Project Broadcast accounts. And I'm going to tell you a really quick story on why that's so important. I had a lady in direct sales a few years ago. I won't say the business, but she also ran multiple preschools. Like she literally ran the preschool system. And she accidentally sent out a message about her direct sales business to every parent of all the preschools that she managed, which, as you can imagine, didn't go over well.
That poor thing.
So you can do it. You just have to be so disciplined. You can't make a single mistake. Yeah. So my suggestion is to create 2 Project Broadcast accounts and run each business separately. That way, all your contacts for one business are with one phone number and with another business with another phone number. It's just, I think it's too easy for people to, make a mistake. And unfortunately, that kind of mistake can be costly, right? So do 2 accounts.
And then if you don't use your credits on the month, can you go over that again?
Yeah, if say you're on the starter plan, 500 credits, and you send 300 messages, you have 200 credits left. Those 200 credits roll over to the next month, and they just roll over indefinitely until you cancel, and then it doesn't matter because you cancel, they go away. But yeah, credits roll over indefinitely. And if you need more credits, you can buy credits at any time. Maybe it's going to be November and you're going to send a lot more messages in November, but not really any other month. So you don't want to upgrade your plan just for November. So you can actually buy a bundle of credits if you know you're going to have a lot of messaging just in a single month and not have to upgrade, downgrade your plan.
Is there a place to see where they have how many credits they currently have if they already have Project Broadcast?
You can. If you already have Project Broadcast, the More tab, that's the 3 lines stacked on top of each other. If you click that, there's a feature called Stats. And in the Stats feature, it'll tell you how many credits you currently have. And it'll give you some information too on like how many messages have you sent this billing period, how many in the last billing period, how many over the life of your account, to give you some indication of like what your messaging kind of volume looks like. You can upgrade or downgrade at any time, right, from our website. You can't from the app. You have to do it from the website. And you can cancel anytime. We actually don't have any kind of contracts with Project Broadcast. It's all month to month. And you can upgrade or downgrade whenever you need to, and purchase credits whenever you need to. Or if you get Project Broadcast and find that it's not useful for your business, I'd first say you're not using it because it's going down your business. Then you can cancel anytime.
Amy, did you see that? That was your question. Did you find it? Okay. And I got that one. I got that one. Oh, I'm going through.
No, you're fine.
Would it be creepy if I looked at their Facebook page or Instagram?
While Melanie's doing that, I want you to do me a favor.
Oh, what's that?
So use the chat again. If you're not already or even if you are a Project Broadcast user, just type yes. And if you are not a Project Broadcast user, type no.
Would it be creepy if I looked at someone's Facebook page or Instagram account to see what's happening in their life and sent them a text about it?
Heck no, I actually tell people to do that all the time. So you want to know something really cool that I tell people to do? We have a scheduled chat feature. So if you're scrolling, a customer's Facebook, or you see something in your customer's Facebook, like let's pretend they have a son. Let's say the son's got a baseball game. What is today? Tuesday. Let's say he has a baseball game on Thursday. And you see that he has a baseball game on Thursday. You should hop into Project Broadcast, schedule a chat message that goes out on Friday to that customer and say, hey, I saw Billy had a baseball game. How'd it go? That is how you build your business. 100%. All right, let me look at
this. To know if you will screen share and show us a typical Facebook Project Broadcast page.
A landing page, maybe? Is that what they're asking for?
I don't know. Arlene, can you tell me what you're asking? We have a whole training that Jake did with us last year that is a full demo of how to schedule a text, how to schedule a voice message, how to schedule all of that stuff. We have an entire hour and a half deep training on that.
Yeah, it'll break your brain.
The guides.
So I think that was even before we launched training.projectbroadcast.com.
Mm-hmm.
I would go to training.projectbroadcast.com. I think that's a much more digestible form of training now, and go to the quick start. The quick start is going to show you how to import contacts, create a scheduled broadcast, set up your broadcast hours, and use our chat feature. And if you sit down and go through that one training nonstop, like all the way through, it's about 30 minutes. It'll take you to go through that training, maybe 45 at the most. And it'll teach you what I call the core features of Project Broadcast.
So just to be clear, credits are used for mass texting and you send out, but if someone texts you back, the chatting you do with them does not use credits.
That's correct. Yep.
Jamie, there you go.
Can voice messages. You can't send voice memos, like when you record a voice and you send it over like iMessage through your iPhone. That's not really a thing in the texting world. But we do have ringless voicemail. So you can record a voicemail and send it as if you called them and left them a voicemail. So an example would be, I record a voicemail template. Hey, it's Jake. I want to make sure you got my message. Let me know when you have a second to chat. It's generic, but it's personal because it's my voice. Mm-hmm. I can actually send that to 50 people if I want to. And it will literally call all their phones and immediately put that onto their voicemail as if you called them and left that as a voicemail on their phone, like a real voicemail.
I know a leader I work with that does that on a regular basis. Does it go from the first of the month to the end of the month, or from sign up date?
Sign up date. Okay. The anniversary of sign up date. Alicia, it's called high impact communication. That's the training that'll help you figure out what's maybe that first thing you want to tackle. I think it's called high impact communication on our training website.
Does this only work for direct sellers, or how about your average office salesperson asking for my hobby?
Okay, so we have a heart for direct sellers and network marketers, but Project Broadcast is in no way specific to network marketing direct sales. We have churches, schools, restaurants, large nonprofits. I just signed up a owner of 8 furniture stores in Minnesota and Wyoming a couple days ago. We have mortgage people, we have political figures, celebrities, football teams. So the answer is anyone can use Project Broadcast. I just have a heart for this space, so I spend a lot of time really helping you guys. This is what I love doing. So, but yes, you can use it for any other business.
Did there used to be a free plan?
There is a actually there is a free plan now. So the free plan is called the social plan, but you cannot send or receive text messages or make or receive phone calls with the social plan. The social plan is intended for people to sign up to be able to participate in our Spaces feature. Like if you wanted your team to collaborate with you in our Spaces feature and do conversation, Q&A, and all that kind of stuff, they need to be on Project Broadcast. So the social plan is to help people get Project Broadcast to participate in our Spaces feature, but they can't really send or receive text messages with it.
I would have answered, yes, there's a 10-day free trial and 500 free credits.
And there's that. I forgot about that. That's right. So, there's a 10-day free trial.
10-day free trial, right? So in 500 credits, depending on how big your followers are, how many phone numbers you have, if you have 100 phone numbers, that's like 5 texts. So if you could do it for a month, you could stretch them 2 months, you could like you've got some time to figure out the system.
Yeah, I always tell people, sign up for the starter plan. I forgot about the 10-day free trial. There's 10-day free trial there. You will do the quick start like in day 1. So as a part of quick start, you send out your very first message to all your contacts. So you will start having engagement in your Project Broadcast literally within a day or two. So well before that 10-day free trial has expired. And I really believe this, like if Project Broadcast isn't saving you 15 minutes in time or making you $15 in income, and I'm just trying to be nice when I say this, but you're not using it right. Like that's just the
right.
Again, if you only use it for customer follow-up and never use it for any other the other features, and I mean you're talking about this much features of Project Broadcast, it's going to save you $15 in time.
Is it equally advantageous for Canadians as it is for Americans?
It is. So when you sign up, you actually can choose a Canadian province and get a phone number in a province in Canada.
Wonderful. And I keep putting the link in there like a stalker, but if you guys want those 500 free credits,
yes, use Melanie's link.
Don't go to the site. You have to use that link. And then where'd it go? Do the voice messages count against credits like the text messages?
Voicemail drops are actually 2 credits per message because they're actually more expensive to send than text messages. 2 credits per successful, what we call drop.
Sing happy birthday. Nice.
You could leave a voicemail singing happy birthday.
That's what she was saying. Can you explain how it works when you get a number? Is it through an app or from your phone?
Yeah, when you sign up for Project Broadcast, you will also install the Project Broadcast app on your phone. And that's where you will communicate back and forth with your customers. Now, they get text messages, but whenever they respond, it shows up in your Project Broadcast app. And you can use our app or even the Project Broadcast website. A lot of times we see people use the website for building content, like building campaigns and landing pages. And they use their phone a lot when they're on the go, right? They're in kid pickup line at school and they're talking to customers or responding to messages. So they'll use a lot of the chat capability mostly on phone, and they'll use the content creation features on web. But both features exist on both web and mobile.
Arlene says, what happens if you go over your credits mid-month? You buy
your phone blows up. Yeah. No, we don't charge you automatically. There is a feature called auto recharge that is off by default that you can turn on. And you basically tell it, when I get below this many credits, auto buy me this many credits. So you want to typically turn that on as a safety net. But if you find that auto recharge kicks in every month or multiple times a month, you probably need to increase your plan, because the auto recharge credits are a little bit more expensive than your plan credits. So let's say auto recharge kicked in once a month, every single month. Well, then upgrade to the next plan, right? So that auto recharge doesn't kick in every month.
She said like Starbucks. Yeah. It's like Dunkin'. Yeah.
Yes. It's like Starbucks app. Yeah. It'll auto refill.
If they refer someone to Project Broadcast, can they earn more credits?
You can. So there's a training that I'm going to point you to on the training website, and it's called How to Share Project Broadcast. And it goes over 2 ways that you can share project broadcast. Because depending on your company, one way may be better than the other. So at training.projectbroadcast.com, it's how to share project broadcast. There's a whole training just on that.
Mm-hmm. So that was 2 people asked about referrals. And so, yes, the answer is yes. You get free credits, and they do. Yes.
All right. So here's my last question, because I know we want to wrap up soon.
Yes, we do.
For those of you who said no, you're not a project broadcast user, I only want you to answer. Do you think project broadcast can help you in your business? If the answer is yes, then type yes. If the answer is no, you better watch the replay.
Watch it again. Because you missed something.
Because, yeah, you stepped away. All right. So for those of you that just said yes, right, where you're like, I think this can help me. Again, you might be a little overwhelmed. It's totally normal, because all we're really doing in this call is like just like we're ideating like ways you can use project broadcast, and there's a ton of ways to use it. You need to think about the best way for you to do the first thing, right? And when you sign up, use Melanie's link, get an extra 500 credits. Go do the training. You'll do quick start first. That's going to teach you the bare, what I would call core functionality. And just from that, you'll probably start engaging with your customers and getting value. And then the very next thing is you need to sit down and figure out what's the next thing for me and my business. Follow up, prospecting, education, helping my team with business tips, whatever that is for your business, tackle that next thing. And then, you can start tackling the other things as you finish the first one.
That's why I tell the mastermind people all the time, especially the ones that are on project broadcast, is once you figure out the basics, watch 1 video a week. It's like part of their homework. 1 video a week to learn 1 new feature. And within 3 months, you are a project broadcast ninja. You are one of the ninjas, because you know how to do all this stuff, but you don't have to know how to do it all up front to get started. You do not. Right.
It's like when you started your network marketing direct sales business. If your company has a big product catalog, did you know every product day one? No, that takes time, right? To experience it and learn about it and talk about it with people. Same thing with project broadcast. There's a ton of features, and lucky for you, I guess, we're just adding more. So there's going to always be more features to go learn. Just learn the features you need today. And then
as soon as you learn them, they're going to release new ones.
Yeah. Hey, but you know what? I'm a big believer in, like, we are constantly figuring out how to drive more value to people.
Yes. Yeah.
And the price doesn't change. Like when we rolled out landing pages, I can't tell you how many emails I got personally on what's this going to increase the price? Am I going to have to pay extra for it? And we're like, no, it's part of the part of the platform. It's free.
Yep.
Part of the platform.
I love it. Thank you, Jake, so much for coming today, spending all this time with us. And if you guys have more questions, join the Project Broadcast group. Go and follow go to the website. If you are already a user, go do the training. Like, it's all right there. It's literally at your fingertips. So the choice is yours, what to do with it. But I appreciate you coming in the middle of your workday to come meet with us. And
I always love these calls, man. This is fun for me. So
good. I love it too. Good. We'll bring you back again next year. Actually, maybe every time you release features, I might have to be like, Jake.
That'd be a lot of calls.
That would be, wouldn't it? That's all. But I appreciate you so much. And guys, if you all give him a thank you real quick.
Thank you so much, Melanie.
Have a great day, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.